In a world where one man used the Metaworld mod, he created a world full of worlds. Alright, what's going on, dudes, and welcome to something kind of amazingly awesome, for lack of a more eloquent term. This is, as I just sort of let on, the Metaworld mod, and what it allows you to do is create these sub-worlds within your existing world that you can control their location, their orientation, their size, so on and so forth, all while maintaining their individual block data. Sounds super complicated, it's kind of hard to explain. Anyway, we'll get into it, and it's pretty straightforward, I assure you. So there are a couple ways that you can make one of these subworlds. To begin with, we'll use the blank subworld creator, which we have in hand, placed on the ground, and all of a sudden you're like, well, wait a minute, why is this block at a 45-degree angle relative to everything else in this world? And that's because this block is now its own save file. You heard me right. This block is its own save file. Sounds very strange, but that's the way this works. It creates sort of this sub-Minecraft save within your existing Minecraft save that now you can build onto, add blocks to it, so on and so forth. And then if I add on the subworld controller, or right-click on it, I can control this thing and move it all about and rotate it based upon where I'm rotated, and move it with WASD, and raise it with spacebar, lower it back down with control, and then let it go stationary, and exit the subworld controller with left shift. And now it's just floating there, and it's kind of crazy, and it's not super crazy yet because obviously it's just a little thing of blocks, but we can make it more complicated by adding on a few more blocks, and I don't know, why don't we put some redstone on this thing? And redstone, believe it or not, as we make this thing fly through the air and enlarge it and shrink it, which we'll do in a couple seconds, the redstone will still work. So here we go. Here goes the piston, forward, backwards, and let's go ahead and click the subworld controller, move this thing around a little bit, raise it up in the air, and exit out of it again, and hey, piston still works. What do you know? In fact, look what I can do. I can give it some momentum, let go, this thing will start moving, and I can flip the lever, and we have a moving piston on a moving platform. Let me go ahead and stop this before it gets away from me. It'll keep whatever momentum it has when you exit the subworld controller block. So if it's moving and I exit the subworld controller block, it's going to keep moving in whatever direction it was, or rotating in whatever direction it was. We have a rotating platform. It's not actually moving anywhere. It's just rotating because I was rotating my character as I exited. So let's go ahead and stop it so we can more easily add blocks. Actually, we don't even need to stop it to add blocks. We can just add some right there, add some right there, put a block in front of the piston so we can, boom, move it backwards and forwards as we flip the lever. And now, let's go ahead and stop it so we can add the miniaturization. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Actually, no, I'll start off by making it larger. So I'm going to use the supersizing block, and I'm going to attach it here. Boom, gets bigger. Destroy it, and attach it again. Boom, gets bigger. Gets bigger. And just have to get a little bit closer. Get a little bit closer and off to the side, and bigger. And I have to get really, what seems to be really close, because remember, this is a very, very large scale, and even bigger. And now we have this giant piston island that, what do you know, if we get really what appears to be close to the lever, it still works. Can't hear it because it's really far away now, but the action still works. Holy crap, isn't this amazing? So now we can use the miniaturization block to shrink it back on down. There's actually a block that will simply reset the size of it, but we'll use the miniaturization block for our purposes here. If I can even place it down, I have to get to like the very edge here. So there we go. Shrink it on down a little bit more, get back to normal size. In fact, we'll go even smaller than normal size. Even smaller. It's going to be hard to tell without getting some block for reference. There we go. And that's as small as we can get, I think. But all of a sudden, whoa, it's a tiny little thing. Let's put down some blocks, if possible, for reference. I'm going to just build out over to here. Hold on. Oops, that was a subworld controller. I did not mean to do that. We'll just use some stone. The only downside of having non-unique textures for those blocks is you can sometimes confuse them with existing blocks. Here we go. For reference, just a little tiny piston island. But what do you know? It's still, if I can get close enough, oh god, it still works. Whee! And you can hear it this time because it's obviously much closer than our giant enlarged island. So pretty crazy. And once again, obviously, if I right click on the controller, I can move it around and all the properties stay the same because once again, it is its own save file. Pretty crazy. So we'll just let this drift on into oblivion, and I'm going to proceed to blow your mind. So Jerry's tree is over here. However, what I've done with Jerry's tree is I've used the Contagious subworld creator block. Sounds like an illness of some sort. I put it on here, and the Contagious subworld controller block takes whatever blocks are attached to it and turns it into its own subworld. It's kind of like the Zeppelin mod in a sense, except obviously you can shrink it and enlarge it, and it's amazing, and the redstone still works, and it's like, oh my god, my mind is blown, and your mind is about to be blown too. So here's the subworld controller block. Again, it just looks like regular wood, so it can be a bit confusing. I'm going to right click on it, and why don't we just move Jerry's tree? So some blocks that aren't actually attached, they're not going to move along with the tree because they were just floating in there. And so obviously the Contagious subworld creator didn't detect them. But anyway, most of the tree still moves along. And hey, you're just going to move this giant Jerry's tree along. You know, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Just moving it along in the world. Hey, all in a day's work. All in a day's work. Just chilling. All right, so move Jerry's tree over there. Not a big deal. Let me go ahead and exit once the tree is still. And now, why don't we use the miniaturization block? Because supersizing this would probably be a bad idea. So let me do miniaturization 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 is all you can do. But now, hey, we got a little mini Jerry's tree. How awesome is this? Now, if I go in close enough and I click the subworld controller, I can move it a little bit more. And let's set it down. Set it down with control. See if I can get it in a nice location. Over here. And you'll notice once I get far enough away, it's actually going to start unloading it, because keep in mind, because it's its own save file, it's actually scaling the chunks as well. So even though it's pretty close to me in normal world coordinates, it's actually really far away from me in the miniature scale coordinates. So that's why it's actually disappearing on me. So let me exit, get back closer. The chunks will start to load again. And hold on, let's see if we can fine tune it a little bit more. Carrie is just hanging out because unfortunately I don't think she supersized. Okay, let's see if we can get it into the world as best as possible and rotate it so it actually lines up. Here we go, and looks good to me. Now we have a little miniature Jerry's tree on one block. How amazing is this? Can just build up a reference tower right here. That is just a few blocks high. Keep it going. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? And once again, like if we go click on a chest, the chest actually opens. So this is the Jerry's tree that I imported at the beginning of Hexit. So that's why all the chests are empty. I haven't actually tested if we put things in them, if it'll actually stay. Let's see. Can I put a piece? I can put a piece of stone in there. Exit out. And oh, wait, hold on. And it's still in there. Oh my god, it's a miniature chest that actually functions. Go into the one below it, put in a piece of redstone, go back up, chest is still there. Oh my god, it's amazing. I'm freaking out at this as well. This is the coolest mod ever. So once again, we could enlarge it back up if we use the supersizing block. But why not just have a friggin' miniature Jerry's tree hanging out? Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, our piston island has just drifted off. Let me set it back to daytime. And I think that's about going to do it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory how this thing works. You can actually, again, like destroy blocks on it if you want to. Not that you would want to destroy Jerry's tree, but I just destroyed a couple of wood blocks there. I could take off like a torch. The particles stay regular size, so it looks a bit weird. My screen gets like splattered with particles as I destroy this tiny little block. Anyway, then I could grab a new piece of wood, jungle wood, build back up. Put a not torch right there. Anyway, this is too cool. So, yeah, that's about it, dudes. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have, a rating would be much appreciated. Other than that, thanks for watching. and I will see you all next time.